everybody, and welcome to the 10K Q&A. That's 10,000 subscriber question and answer. I went to Twitter, Facebook, and codezero.us to answer your questions that you asked me on there. I asked you for my questions that you wanted to ask me the answers to. Short story, I'm going to answer some questions. If you already subscribed, you're one of the 10,000 people that subscribe to me, and I greatly appreciate it. You are what makes me do this. At the end of the day, I am delivering the content to you. I'm a content creator for you, and you drive. You are my drive. So, yeah, I thought it's been a while. It's maybe 2K was the last time I did a Q&A. It's been a long time. Maybe I did one after that, but it's been a decent amount of time. So, figured I'd do one again. And here we go. I'm going to start with the Twitter questions from my the first time I asked, which was about a week ago. So first question is from Alex Monroe at Xander Bash. How old are you? Alex, I am 23 years old. I was born on May 18th, 1991 to be exact. So I'm 23 this year. Bugs at Bay Area Bugs. If someone offered you two options, which one would you pick? Arms are 5 inches longer with legs 5 inches shorter, or vice versa. Oh, and not forewarning, but just a disclaimer. I may have seen some of these questions, but I didn't pre-plan any answers. These are all off the top of my head, and I'm trying to keep them as real as possible and answer them as quickly as possible. But arms are 5 inches longer with legs 5 inches shorter, or vice versa. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm about 6 feet tall, 6'1" legally. I'm in between 6 and 6'1". I'm pretty sure I'm actually closer to 6'1" now. But I don't think I have an arm length issue. So I would probably be fine with being taller. 6'5". I mean, that's a little tall, or 6'6". It's tall, but I would be fine with that. And I think because of my height, I would be able to reach things easier that are at height. But my arms being 5 inches, yeah, screw my arms. 5 inch shorter arms, 5 inches, make me 5 inches taller. Sniper Shop. Why does round pizza come in a round box? I think you meant to ask, why doesn't round pizza come in a round box? I'm pretty sure it's because it would be more difficult to make the cardboard, the cardboard, round. But a lot of there's a lot of the companies that do the boxes where the ends are actually in. So it's like a mostly rectangle box with the ends, so the pizza fits right in there. But then there's places like Papa John's. I'm answering this so meticulously. There's places like Papa John's that actually use that space. They put their garlic sauce or whatever, and like pepper or whatever in the corner. Pepper? Is it pepper? Yeah. So yeah, there's places like that do that and actually utilize the space, and then other ones, I don't know. Well, that's like I said, I'm pretty sure it's difficult to cardboard form a round box and build it easily because you would have all those folds. It wouldn't be worth it, essentially. So that's why it's in a rectangular or a square box as opposed to a round box. Also, can a hearse carrying a corpse drive in the carpool lane? Depends on what state you're in, country you're in, I guess. We don't even have carpool lanes where I live. So, I'm going to say yes, but legally, do I have any clue? No. There we go. Eric Cody Kodal at Eric TDR. That's easier. Why did you start doing YouTube? I started doing YouTube due to Code Zero. Due to Code Zero, possibly before they were Code Zero, but due to everybody in the group at the time. I saw it. It was inspiration to start doing YouTube, essentially. And then I did it, and very shortly after that, I was playing with them, and the group turned into what was named Code Zero, and things just went from there. That's the short story of it, and I enjoy doing it, and I'm glad I started due to them, and then joined them. What's your favorite PC game, console game? Ooh, so this is like all time. That's extremely difficult to just pick a favorite console and PC game pretty much of all time. If I was answering as a kid, Alpha Centauri, which was a Sid Meier game. Was it? Yes, I'm pretty sure. It was turn-based strategy. That was one of the most fun games for me as a kid. That and the Sim City games then, and the Sim Copter and all those ones, like that kind of those kind of PC games were my favorite as a kid. And console games would have had to been like early on when first console games I played, the Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, not of course, but Sonic the Hedgehog, and also Gran Turismo, the Gran Turismo series and Driver series, anything that had like cars in it. So that was my kid answer, but my adult answer would be a little bit more difficult. The console side would have to go in between GTA 5 and The Last of Us. Last of Us was probably by far the best game I played on the PS3. It just was. Story-wise, graphically, gameplay, it's probably the best game console game I've played in the last couple years. That being said, GTA 5 is really good, and can't wait for it to be on next gen and PC. If it comes out the next gen and PC, my answer may need to be revised, but I'll do that in the next Q&A. I don't know. Worst. Oh, worst. The worst. So I'll go back. Start with my adult answer. SimCity. I don't even have to think about it. SimCity was just atrocious. The new one is horrible. Compared to the old games, there's so much functionality, so the size of the cities and everything. I don't have to go into why it was the worst game of all time for me, or of my adulthood. But it is horrible, and it was a waste of money, and I played it a handful of times and never played it again because it was so bad. What's the best part of being a YouTuber? The best part of being a YouTuber is more than likely, I would say, the creation process. The playing of the games, well, that's probably one of the highest moments, but the playing of the games and then the actual creating it, making it into a video, developing a thumbnail, doing all that work, I actually really, really, really enjoy that. I'm naturally just a creative person, love graphic design, love working on the computer, so that is probably one of the best things about being a YouTuber, creating the content. Matteo Ledoux, that's a guess. At FunGamer2817, why do you like Saab and other Swedish vehicles? And what started the love? They're quirky. They're quirky, and they usually have, this is my opinion, of course, they're quirky, and they usually have a different sense of style from the status quo, if you will. They're also, what's the word? More utilitarian. Like almost everything has a purpose, or there's a reason for doing it that way. Some of the, a lot of people don't get the look of a lot of them, like a lot of the Saabs and even Volvos. They're either really boxy or they just got weird, different designs and what have you. And most of the time it's because of safety. They did things because of safety and reason before looks, quote unquote. A good example of why the 900 has such a long hood, and when I'm talking about the 80s 900, such a long hood is due to safety. They made it so that in a crash, even without airbags early on, it would be able to, you would have that area of pretty much a safety barrier. So they did that. And then the reason why the back was the way it was, well, the hatchback versions, it was a hatchback and it had space. Unlike, that's the other thing too, just ingenuity, the weird hatchback thing, and everybody going, well, that's not going to fit in there. And then it does, because the hatchback and the odd lookingness of a Saab hatchback, tons of stuff fits in there, way more than most people think. I do like Volvos, but not as much. I never owned a Volvo. Probably would like it. Oh, and the other thing with the Saab too is turbos. Turbos. If there is a thing that makes sense for the modern car companies to be doing, is they're turboing everything. Saab and Volvo both did that way back in the day, and they both made it pretty much standard on their cars. So they made it something that all of their cars had, and they made it reliable, and they made it really efficient and eco-friendly, because at the same time, you can have that engine with a naturally aspirated and a turbo side by side, and that turbo is going to output way more horsepower. Yeah, it might be even the same liter. Might be a 2-liter naturally aspirated and a 2-liter turbo. That 2-liter turbo is going to have a lot more power and not necessarily, use that much more gas. So that's just a couple of reasons why I really like it. And what started the love? What started the love was probably my dad buying the first. I kind of just liked them, and when me and my dad were looking at cars, he was looking to get a new one, a new used car. We ended up getting a 1994 Saab 900. So it was the new generation, and it wasn't even turboed, but I just loved it. It was just quirky, had the weird things like the ignition in the center. It had really good safety features for a car from 1994, and it was what I got in my first accident with, and didn't walk out with a scratch. So the overall safety, and I've even rolled inside of one. So my driving abilities might not be the best. I've gotten in an accident recently. My driving abilities might not be the best, but they've always kept me safe, and they've always done their job in that aspect. Chris Elia Chris 60. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live and why? To be honest, after looking the other day, probably Sweden. I know people go, oh, well, it's because of Saab, blah, blah, blah. No, it's actually not. It's looked up like the top 5 countries for their internet connections. Which I know some people, well, you just live in a country based on the internet. No, but yes, if net neutrality doesn't get passed here, if we don't have it, if we have internet fast lanes, quote unquote, and we have companies are able to charge you more for certain functions and certain features of the internet and certain speeds to certain things, then there's going to be almost no option for me other than to move. I will not stand for it. I will not. It's some people go, oh, that's a little extreme, but it's not. The internet is meant to be open and free. I'm really hoping that the comments that the FCC has gotten changes their mind on what they plan on doing to the internet, because they're pretty much, at least in the United States, pretty much putting the internet in a coffin. Because if you had to pay for services, and now I'm getting off on a tangent, but if you had to pay for services, certain services more than other ones just on the internet, because it's all on the internet. If you had to pay more for just streaming package, Netflix, YouTube, and a couple other different streaming sites, and you paid an extra $15 a month for that, but your base internet was $30 and you paid extra for that, then you also paid extra for getting your email quicker, and then maybe news sites. You see what I mean? It adds up, and it adds up. So these certain places get faster speeds to you and everything, and then the internet as a whole, sites that don't pay for it. A good example is CodeZero.us. I wouldn't be able to pay to set up that type of feature and get the site to be faster to certain people. So it creates a real issue for up-and-coming websites and companies to get into the field, and that's a problem. That is a real huge issue in the United States. So Sweden. So I'm going to come back off the tangent. Sweden would probably be the best out of the top 5 that I looked at. I was like not having any of the other ones. Sweden, and I researched it, and there's a lot of positive things to Sweden, and how, I mean, you just have to get used to their weather. But I kind of already am in their weather, the sun and the snow. And some rain in there. That's already kind of where I live. Just a little bit more snow. And a little bit more light, daylight and stuff. It's probably longer, even though nighttime would then be long. Yeah, regardless, probably Sweden. Tides Penta, ASC Penta. Udermilken. Yes. Got Lime. What is your favorite car of all time? Now, I don't know if you are asking me what's my favorite car of all time, like that I've owned, or favorite car of all time. Because there's two different answers. Favorite car I've owned is probably the Saab 900 series, the 80s version of the Saab 900. There's just nothing else out there like it, and it's currently what I have a project car of. I'm not going to go into any other details, because you've just seen on my one video the hood of it. That's it. But that would probably be the car my most favorite I've personally owned and driven. Favorite car, though, of all time, hands down, for me, though, and a car I eventually want to own, and I think it's actually, well, you're not going to be able to see it, but my Back to the Future poster's over there, is the DeLorean, the DMC DeLorean. There's just something about it, the stainless steel, the gull wing doors. I want to own one day, even though they are dogs engine-wise, unless you upgrade the engine, and their transmissions are bad, and there's a lot of negatives of them. Their style has not been matched since. It's just they're stuck in that time period of just looking like a spaceship and this weird design and everything, and I love them. And I love them due to also Back to the Future, of course. But also too, that's also goes along with like what's my like if you want to go with another one too, a Tesla Model S currently, and I'm really excited to see what their budget car is. That whole lot, Tesla's design, culture, and everything is great, and really want to. It's the only electric car I've ever been excited about, and the only electric car I want. All right, so here we go. Larry Vernaccio, Vernaccio. Where in Pennsylvania do you live? Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania. That's where I live. Jeremy Walgrass, what's the stupidest thing you've ever done? Roll my Saab. Go around a turn, do what you're not. But here's the backstory on the rolled Saab story. Went around a turn, and the front right tire blew out of me. It was an S curve. I was admittedly going over the speed limit, but I went through that turn, and the front right tire blew on me. I did exactly what you're not supposed to do, unbeknownst to me. Now looking back, it's the stupidest thing I've done. But at the time, I did not know this. And in the DMV, or in the PA handbook, it even says all these things. And never was in a test, or never was even, I don't even remember it in driver's ed. But it is, I did the two things you're not supposed to do, slam on the brakes and attempt to steer the car, because I attempted to steer the car and not go into a ditch. I also slammed on the brakes, which, you know, caused everything to lock up, and I went and swung to the left around the S curve. I ramped up how, you know, how guardrails go into the ground, they get bent over and put into the ground. I ramped up that and rolled over 3 or 4 times at least. So that was probably the stupidest thing I've ever done, because I did, and at the same time though, I didn't even know not to do that. All right, next question from Chris. Yodi Lex, YOLO Latex. Zach, question. Why do they call roosters cocks? Chris, I don't know. How would I know? I even guessed at like the pizza box and everything. I don't know why they call roosters cocks. Because they cock-a-doodle-doo? Is that a good enough answer? Cock-a-doodle-doo, Chris. Cock-a-doodle-doo. There it is. Bendaluca, if you were a billionaire, what 3 things would you spend the most money on? 3 things would I spend the most money on? What 3 things? As a billionaire? In all honesty, probably wouldn't be where well, maybe it might be where I live, but probably wouldn't be the house. And that's not like that a thing to me, other than the garage space, because that's number one, cars. I don't know why. That's one thing. I will own all the cars I've ever wanted. That's pretty much it. I will own all the classic Saabs that I've wanted, and all those weird movie cars, or replicas of movie cars. Generally, Ecto 1, DeLorean, Time Machine, Kit from Knight Rider. That will be one of my. Half of my money goes into that. Maybe not half, but a lot of my money would go into that. Other 3 things. Second thing would be animals, and just like animals. I would almost want to start like a rescue, or have like if I had that type of free money, something to help out animals and, you know, cats and dogs and what have you. If I had that type of money, I would definitely use a lot of it towards that. Because I definitely always wanted to do that, and I see so many cats and dogs and stuff just out there, like pretty much start up another humane society, or donate a lot of it to places like that, so they can expand and keep our animals alive, and keep them from overpopulating and what have you, and keep them safe and healthy. Third thing, it's hard. Family. You know, I think that would be the most, if you know, family. Just making sure that I've paid them back what they've done for me, making sure they live, you know, and get the things they need, health and financially, make them stable. That's the heart in me. Now these questions are from the CodeZero.us forum. I have a few questions. This is just a gamer. Coke or Pepsi? Coke. 100%. Coke, 100%. Even though right now I am dieting and I'm not drinking any soda, but still, Coke. And if I have to have another choice, Dr. Pepper, of course. What's your dream car? Dream car, I think I answered already. DeLorean or a Tesla. That being said, like dream, probably like a Koenigsegg, just some ridiculous sports car you'd never see. That's pretty much it. Did you ever think that you would be a YouTuber? No. In all honesty, I didn't. Even though I got the inspiration to do it from Code Zero and the group of them, I did not think I would actually be a YouTuber. And do you love what you were doing? YouTube/job? YouTube, yes. Job, no. Yes and no. YouTube, I do love, and it does have its problems and issues, and you have to deal with certain things, and you have to deal with a fluctuating money source and everything, but I do love it at the end of the day. I do love gaming with these guys. I do love gaming and uploading content. I like creating the videos, and I like recording and editing and everything, so I really do enjoy that. My day job, I love graphic design, but it's at the same time doing graphic design as my main job. There's certain things that you just have to deal with, and you have to kind of put aside what you think sometimes. If you're doing something for a customer, you have to put aside what you feel is right sometimes and what you feel is the best design direction because they want something else, which is unfortunate because they're usually wrong. That's it. Okay, Coda G asked me, what is your current car? I'm not going to go into too much details, but it is a Saab 900. I'll give another thing. Oh wait, it's an SPG. Do you plan on doing anything to it in the future? For the most part, honestly, keeping it stock and just making it more and more reliable, and eventually trying to bring it back to mint condition, bring it back to showroom condition, because it's currently not like that. It's currently a project car. What is your favorite thing about being in the Code Zero crew? Well, the group. My favorite thing is just the people. I'm friends with everybody in the group, and we're all close-knit friends, and we all just have a great time playing games together. At the end of the day, it's just that. We are best friends, and for all of us to be in the group and not just be people that game together and use each other to record, being best friends in the group is awesome and probably my favorite thing. What are the most important lessons you've learned in life? This is from Empire. What are the most important lessons you've learned in life? Don't ever let a relationship or, in my scenario, a girl or anything rule your life or tell you how you should be. Be yourself first and find somebody that fits into that slot, fits in with you. Not the other way around. Don't try to fit anybody else's mold. That's not even just a girl thing or a relationship thing. Don't don't try to fit into anybody else's mold, because you should just be yourself. Because eventually what's going to happen is that's going to wear off. Whoever you're trying to act like or whoever you're trying to be and sell to people, it will wear off. And they will more than likely not like that they were if they would feel lied to, or would have felt like you broke their trust, because you weren't necessarily lying to them, but you weren't being honest, which is that it's pretty much the same thing, right? If you're being dishonest and you're not being forefront with people, you're pretty much lying. So it's that. It's don't ever change yourself for anybody else, or let one relationship prevent relationships with other people. Because you're going to find that you need to figure out what makes you happy first before entertaining somebody else and what makes them happy. That's probably the most important thing I've ever learned in life. In the past few months, what is the smallest change you've made that has made the biggest positive result? It's actually pretty recent. Dieting. I'm not skinny, but I'm not obese. That being said, dieting has probably been the best thing for me and made me feel a lot better. It is just literally stop drinking soda, which is a big thing too. The caloric intake of soda, as well as the caffeine of it, and you just get pretty much addicted to it, as well as it's what we put in modern soda and modern processed foods. And also pretty much stop eating processed foods. I'm not really a huge fast food person right now, and nor really was I, but there was times where I did get into bouts of just wanting fast food, or it just being so easy to get, so easy to go through the drive-through as opposed to making food. And dropping soda and pre-processed foods and drive-through food, fast food, probably the biggest difference. And it's been so positive because I feel like I have more energy, as well as I'm losing that, just the excess weight that I was just carrying around with me, which makes my life easier, as well as it's just better for your health overall. If you had to live your life over again, what is one thing you would change? That's a thing. I'm that type of person that maybe I go back and I use my first piece of advice. I let people determine how I would act, or I acted a certain way for people that wasn't me. And I don't mean just in terms of like you're different around people in the beginning, and then because you're shy, or you don't know if you're going to be accepted. I mean just acting almost lying to yourself in a way, just acting like a different person because you don't feel like somebody's going to like you the way you are. And then you can't just be that person. You can't just be that normal you. So that creates an issue down the road. So yeah, if I had to live it over again, which I don't feel like I do need to, but if I had to, it would be doing that and not letting anybody else tell me how I should be or what have you. If you were to ask your professors to describe you, what would they say? Now, let's say I don't have professors. My teachers, maybe, when I had teachers. And they would have said I was talkative in school. They would also said that I was creative and had that spacey mind. I had ADHD and everything. And, I find, and I also, too, they would probably say that I find things from stuff that maybe, maybe necessarily isn't even there. I just make things, it's the creativeness in me. I just want to make things, not necessarily even make things up, but just like design things and figure out how stuff works. And I've always had this type of mindset of figuring out how stuff works and doing things myself. That's the biggest thing, a real DIYer. I really like to learn things on my own pace and set up things myself. And I will take advice and I will take help from other people, but I really like just to learn stuff myself. Thank you guys for joining my 10K Q&A. I went into a little bit more, did this a little bit longer than I thought I was gonna, and I went into a little bit more detail on certain things than I thought I was going to, but I hope you got something from it. Figured something out about me that you didn't know beforehand, or just got some of my opinion. That's what I'm here for. And that's what I did the Q&A for. So, again, like I said, thank you for 10,000 subscribers. It's been a really awesome journey over this last year. And I hope that this is just the first of many milestones that we're going to hit with the channel. Also, too, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Can't really tell you much about the future. I don't know what it holds, but there's definitely things I'm working on to change up my lineup and get some different games in the mix, as well as live stream more. I really enjoyed doing that this last weekend with Jeff to raise money for his PC. So yeah, just thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys out there next time. See you guys next time. Why are the endings always just so bad? Always so bad. $10K Q&A. 10K Q&A. Hey everybody, we're doing a 10K Q&A. I got a 10K Q&A. 10K Q&A. I got a 10K Q&A. 10K Q&A. 10K Q&A. I got a 10K Q&A. 10K Q&A. I got 10,000 question and answer and A. That's horrible. That is the worst song ever. 10K Q&A. 10K Q&A. This summer. Let's do this. This summer, prepare for the 10K Q&A. 10K Q&A. I've got a 10K Q&A. I've got a 10K. I don't know what's happening with my brain. It's all this sitting and just being here. I'm hungry. Ah, Raymond. I don't know what that is. Ah, Deborah. Deborah, get in here. I got a 10K Q&A to do. It's terrible. That's really bad. I'm gonna stop now. La 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 la. You want to do a 10K Q&A? This is Arnold Schwarzenegger's 10K Q&A. That's not even an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. Deborah, I gotta do a Q&A. I don't know whose voice that is. All right, I'm out of here. See you guys next time.